There's three reasons why the Canadian Quality of Life Framework is absolutely brilliant. First of all, clever framing. Quality of life is sort of universal. Nobody can oppose to the notion of quality of life, whereas well-being and happiness can be perceived by some, especially politicians, as somewhat fluffy. The second reason, and most importantly, is that it puts life satisfaction, and possibly the mnemonic version, but life satisfaction as a headline indicator, cross-cutting. So not part of a system of dimensions, but on top of it, a bit like the North Star or the guiding star, whatever you want to call it. And that's a huge step up from previous models, which tend to put well-being, operationalized through life satisfaction, as part of X number of dimensions. So for example, in the SDGs, you'll find SDG 3 is health and well-being. And so it's part of, but then you don't have a guiding star or a North Star on top of these dimensions. And the beauty of the Canadian framework is that you've had the sensibility to actually have a criterion, a North Star, a headline indicator on top, which then enables you, because you have that headline indicator, it enables you then to get the relative importance of the determinants of quality of life, which are prosperity, health, society, environment, good governance. Whereas if you embed something like well-being within, say, health, then you're just stuck with your 6 dimensions, but there's no way you can figure out the relative importance or where to invest most money or what's most important to whom in Canada in terms of driving quality of life. So unless you have a structure with dimensions or drivers, inputs, and a criterion, a headline indicator, you cannot actually operationalize it in policy. So that's the big mistake, I think, that was made in things like the Human Development Index and the SDGs, is that it's just a list of good things, but not a structure, a dynamic framework that allows to have something on top, which then enables you to derive weights, coefficients for the relative importance of dimensions. And the third good thing about the Canadian framework is that rather than other frameworks we've seen, where they will then put life satisfaction or well-being as a headline indicator, but they'll put it alongside sustainability, environmental sustainability, I mean, and inclusion. And then you're looking at these things very in silos. So you'll have drivers of well-being and drivers of environmental sustainability and ways of measuring inequality, but they're sort of like separate from each other. And the nice thing here is that you essentially have the quality of life as measured through life satisfaction at the middle as the key performance indicator, the headline indicator. Then the determinants of it, the sustainability and inclusion as sort of cross-cutting elements that cut throughout and that are embedded throughout, rather than sitting separately in silos as if they're separate from life satisfaction and well-being. Anyway, so there's three evolutions in the quality of life framework for Canada that are really, really clever, that I think build on these beyond GDP indices. I think it starts with the Human Development Index, and then so the next evolution is the SDGs, where well-being sits embedded within or amongst health, but it's just a list of things. And then the third iteration, I think, of these beyond GDP metrics and frameworks is essentially the Canadian one, where they have the dimensions, they have inclusion and sustainability weaved throughout, and they have well-being as sort of a criterion on top, which enables the whole thing to come together and be dynamic and operationalizable in policy. The fourth stage of beyond GDP indices could well be our World Happiness Report, where we go all the way and essentially really just begin and start with life satisfaction and then reverse engineer to see what drives it. But I think this is probably the most operational, pragmatic approach that should be acceptable to all today.
Way to go, Canada. Thank you. That was very exciting. This is Jan-Emmanuel de Neve who wrote this, which is a book I've spent a lot of time with over the last little while.
Thank you.